Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will the committee members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the meeting dated November 4, 2019? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Obermark?
Aye.
Hatke?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Fellentrop?
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any questions or corrections?
I make motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Patke, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated November 4, 2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Report of department heads, fire, turnout gear purchase.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to go first. We have a member of ours that passed away, so I had to get to a funeral this evening, so thank you. Before you have a letter and a quote from McQueen Emergency regarding turnout purchase. What we did beginning late last year into this year, is we reviewed all of our turnout gear for all of our personnel, compared that with the standard, and found that a lot of it was in a fair to poor condition. Just through attrition over time, it just wore down, and the cost went up, and we weren't really budgeting for it correctly. So what we're trying to do is get everybody caught up. What we're looking to do is use the money out of the reserve fund. We put approximately $75,000 in reserve last year, and spend that money to bring our turn-up gear back up to a closer level of where it should be, for about $43,000.
How old are they?
Pardon?
How old is the equipment?
Some of the gears is 21 years old. The life of the standard says 10 years. We average, a typical guy will get, an active person will get somewhere between 8 to 12 years out of a set. We're looking at about $2,000 to $2,100 a set, just for pants and coat. That doesn't include the rest of the outfit: helmet, gloves, hood, etc.
How many units?
21. There is one tailoring charge in there. We have one guy that's very broad-shouldered and normally our guys are pretty symmetrical this way. This guy's like this. And so it was a pretty baggy coat. So we did pay for the extra tailoring for him.
Brombach?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
Make a motion, send it on to council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Obermark, to send this on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've moved it on. Thank you.
Thank you
Tim,
very
will
much.
you have a more regular rotation or review of equipment?
Yeah, we
21
never.
years seems really old.
We never. It was one of those things I was thinking about shortly after I became chief. Is we've got approximately $150,000 to $200,000 of turnout gear out there, issued out to our people, and we keep track of dollars very tight. And that was one of the things I found to be kind of loose. So we had a 3-person committee went out, and they were trained by the manufacturer to actually investigate it. So we have a running list now. And then we also are looking at our average sizes with the standard deviation a little bit to know what we need to stock is kind of that medium size. And then we're looking at a replacement schedule, and we also increased the budget to accommodate buying additional sets. The cost of gear continues to go up, and so we're trying to adjust for that accordingly.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Public Works Director, Airport Project Consultant Selection.
Good evening, Council. Give you a quick update. Every 5 years, the FAA and MoDOT requires the municipalities who own or any airport owner to go out for RFQs for airport consultants. So our previous one was CMT. They obviously, if there's any projects that are identified over at the airport, they are the consultant that assist us in getting those projects completed. I know we've had a couple hiccups on a couple projects. I didn't feel that was necessarily CMT's role. It was more of the contractor that was the low bid. So we did receive 2 different consultant, actually 3, one for environmental and planning. but the other one was CMT and Burns and McDonald. So we reviewed both of those, and we are recommending that we move forward with CMT, the current consultant. There are no dollars associated with this. Those don't become available, like I said, until a project is eventually identified. We are looking in the near future, I guess, is potentially looking at different a hangar constructed. We have an opportunity with the bridge, the stone that's coming out of the causeway. Alberici is essentially hauling us that material for free to the airport. I'm working with Tony on getting that stone placed and compacted in a low area to essentially make something pad ready, which would save us quite a bit of cost, maybe on a hangar construction. It has not necessarily been identified. It's kind of a 3 or 4 years out because we do have to build up a fund. We get $150,000 a year from the FAA to do projects. So I'd like to maximize that, build that up to around $450,000, $600,000 to offset that cost at a 90-10 for a hangar construction. There is a need for it. That's kind of the bigger project that would be next coming up in the next couple of years. So like I said, there's no formal, essentially, ordinance or anything. This is just identifying them once a project does become available to utilize them, provided we could come to terms on cost at that time.
Any
They start
questions?
hauling the rock yet?
There has been, there's no rock that's been hauled. They've been hauling some of the old, the bridge decking, which you'll see piled up there on the side. That's kind of some stuff like a minus, which I wanted to kind of choke or cap off that larger stone. They need somewhere, it varies a little bit, they need somewhere 12 to 14 feet river stage, which hasn't been seen, I don't think, since last January. They were hoping that they could start Monday, today, but river jumped up to 16, 17 feet. So, nobody can see the future. I would think that middle of winter, the Dakotas, where all the water's coming from, would freeze. So there may be a little window in there, but they're hoping to get in and get it done in about a week to 10 days once they can start. So it'll be gangbusters on moving that rock over there. And we're going to have equipment over there pushing the rock into that pad. And then we also are going to have a consultant there doing testing, or at least watching the rock go in, so we can show the FAA that it was done in a controlled manner.
Active.
Yeah. There's no testing you can do on shot rock, but at least we get somebody to sign off that it was done in a good way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
Just have one more thing. We'll give you a quick update. Our solid waste bids did come back approximately 2 weeks ago. We are reviewing those in-house. We did receive 4 different bidders on that. They're very tight, which is good to see that, they've essentially bid on the same kind of line item. There's a lot of different things at play here. There's a standard rate, there's a senior rate, and there's a dumpster rate, because we have various, obviously there's a senior rate here, and then the dumpsters play into it as well. So the combination of all those 3 different items play into the final number that the city would pay at the end of each year. And that would vary because you bring dumpsters on, you bring people on, you bring people off. So we're just trying to get an apples-to-apples comparison. We're going to sit down, Darren, Mary, and I are going to sit down on Thursday to go through that with essentially a 4 or 5 year projected budget of what that looks like. Currently today, we are right at break even. 4 to 5 years our current operation. That's landfill, collections, and recycling. Landfill is a revenue generator. Refuse collection runs about break even. Recycling loses a substantial amount of money. So that runs you essentially break even after 5 years. What that means is after 5 years, we have no funding source for what does the next landfill operation look like. So that's why we're even in this position, is we got to be looking ahead 4 to 5 years out to not be in a situation like we were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So we're not going to have a recommendation tonight, but I wanted to make you aware we're looking into it. It looks like there's going to be some pretty substantial savings. Obviously, the biggest concern here is customer service. So I've already reached out to municipalities that are utilizing the 2 haulers that we've kind of shortlisted, and I've been getting some feedback on those. Hopefully, we'll get more of a warm, fuzzy feeling about having somebody else come in and collect our trash. I've heard additionally what happens after 5 years when the contract runs out. Well, you go back out to bid again. So I can't tell you what that number would be, But if you go in that route, you're vested in going in that route. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's kind of an all or nothing situation. Again, with recycling being the kind of the biggest money drag on the system. So we're looking at all options here. Landfill, like I said, landfill operates in the black pretty regularly, and collections does as well, but recycling does not. So, to a pretty substantial margin.
Any questions of John? Okay, we need to have a motion to move the airport project on to council, the consultant, so.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Pettit, to send the airport project consultant selection on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've moved that on. Thank you.
Parks bid recommendation, Bobcat dozer blade attachment.
Good evening. In front of you, you'll see a letter, a bid recommendation letter for a Bobcat dozer blade attachment. You'll also see this in your regular meeting next. But want to talk a little bit about this. It was budgeted for, and it will help us greatly on flood cleanup, which after being down there last week with John, we'll have quite a bit of stuff to do down there. But between using it for the flood cleanup and up at Miller Post for putting down mulch on the trails and things like that, we'll get a lot of good use out of it. We looked at several intergovernmental contracts, and the state of Missouri's contract gave us the best pricing. With that said, we are a little bit over budget, or $249.59 over budget for this. But we would like your blessing on purchasing this piece of equipment. Any questions?
Any questions of council?
It says 96 inch, it's an 8 foot. Is it a pull behind box blade? Is that what it
No,
is?
it goes on front.
Oh, a front
And
blade.
so it moves, it's a 6-way, so it moves, you can push dirt, so we can windrow dirt off the trail and get ready to haul it off. So we can back the trucks up and windrow it into a road and then haul it off. But it tilts up and down and then goes side to side too. So you can, kind of like a grader almost.
Sounds good.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sullentrup, seconded by Holtmeyer to send this item on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've sent it on. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Finance IT, NOC, LLC monthly services.
Good evening. Included in your packet, you have a recommendation for an increase in the contract for NOC. Basically, we are asking for an increase from $9,000 per month to $12,000 per month, and this would basically increase the hours from 100 block hours per month to 150 block hours per month. And in addition, what NOC has done is they have decreased the hourly rate from $90 per hour down to $80 per hour for us. And what this will do is it will give us one IT person on site at City Hall from 8:30 to 5 every day of the week that we are open. So also in addition, any hours that we don't use in a month will continue to roll over and will not expire for 90 days. And there will be no additional charges for emergency hours. They're keeping that still at the 80 hours. So basically, we're just increasing the hours from 100 to 150 per month. So, and then also, in addition to that, it would be the actual ordinance also includes a budget adjustment. So we didn't budget for that. So we didn't come out of reserves.
Will they also work on the library computers, or is that a separate deal altogether?
That is separate, but the library, that was a separate kind of project. So that is separate, but any hours that they have, like after that project's done and complete, any regular hours, that will come out of this block time.
Okay. Yeah, because the way the world is, I mean, even any place that has over 30 computers should have an IT person,
Right.
so.
And Greg is here to answer any specific questions, but that would be my understanding, that the original project was kind of bid separate, but then after that, their hours would be included in this block time. Am I correct in that? Well, no, I'm just, you can just say yes or.
Anything beyond
Right.
the project's done, that's all on us. Anything beyond that, the library's computers are covered under that same deal. If there's an issue or something to be done.
All right.
So it says one tech will be available, or they will be on site.
They will be on site,
site.
up in the
Have-
IT office.
They
They
have an
they
office
have a
for them?
desk,
They're just
yeah,
not on the
up in the
city
IT
payroll, they're
office.
on-
That's correct.
What's the advantage of that?
To be there, just
Quicker
for-
response
yeah,
time.
Response time. We discussed at the department head meeting this morning, most of the department heads all chimed in. You know, it gets to there's a tipping point as to how much do you contract out versus trying to go ahead and have somebody on staff. We still feel that we have better resources. I think the consensus was we've got better resources to go ahead and have a team of people with NOC as opposed to trying to go ahead and contract this out individually. It's a tough market. I'm sure Greg has a hard market trying to keep people on his payroll, and so rather than fight that fight, I think we'd be better served in this capacity.
Is the two IT people we lost, does it compare to the price that they're charging?
When you say the 2 IT people that we lost, like the 2 people that used to be employed,
That's approximately close to what I think what
well-
we had with them. I'm trying to think of what their salaries were. We did not, the one. we had one
dollar-wise,
Employee for, how many years did we have Robert for, when Donna was here too?
he was here approximately 10 years.
I know, but by himself.
By himself?
Yeah,
2 years.
2 to 3
yeah.
Yeah, about
tops,
after, yeah.
yeah.
I will also.
I mean,
say, I don't
dollar-wise-
think we were getting the service
Right, well-
that we are getting today.
Well,
with-
and the knowledge level, that's
That's-
the thing. The thing is, if we had somebody here of that
Right.
same caliber, we would still have to go out, and that's what we discussed this morning, we would still have to go out, and we would have to hire like NOC to do bigger projects and certain projects, because you just can't find that kind of expertise in, like, what, the staff that we had previously.
Well, I'm just saying, if the salaries are going to offset what they're charging, there's no reason why not to have them.
Oh, correct. I mean, that's basically, yes, I mean,
We never replaced what we had, and now
right.
Greg's going to come in and take over. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we've already had Greg taken over.
Right.
Right. And so the idea was you cannot, like we were saying, the level of knowledge that we have now with regards to the service is head and shoulders, I guess, the best way to describe it compared to what we have. Nothing against the staff that we had before.
Right.
But I think we just grew to a point where it was beyond having somebody just full-time with us. So we were not getting what we were struggling mightily at the time.
Right.
And so I think the idea is most places, I think, are getting to the point now where they contract out for their IT work anyway. Because just for, like I said, it's very difficult. If we had one person, we would be paying a substantial salary for that. They would be running ragged. They could not go ahead and keep up with everything. And it's better in this case than you've got, with the contract, you've got the whole team with NOC. And under this new proposal, like I said, just to cut back on response times, they will have somebody dedicated here. They're not necessarily billing us hours while they are here necessarily. They can do work remotely to other places. So if they're sitting up there, they could be working someplace else as far as that goes. But if they're here, we got the office space, they can go ahead and respond to any of the departments that need it.
Greg, do you think that one person could take care of 11, is it 11 departments we have?
I can't remember the number of
I
departments.
know
that
we
we've
had
got, but
problems
I mean,
before with our IT person taking care of everything. I just want to know if we need to add, are we going to be needing to add another person down the road?
I'd throw it at you, Greg. If you can come up, Greg.
So the nice thing about what we're doing is we're not you don't have one person. You have a dedicated person on site. We have 3 people that are all going to be cross-trained to work on the city stuff. So if there is an influx of need, we can send any 3 people to help at any time. We also have our help desk team. So it's not, you have a person dedicated for the quick response, but you still have the whole team backing that one person, including myself to the department heads. I think at least 75% of the departments have my direct cell phone number, and they're okay to call me if there's an urgent issue. I jump on it, or I get somebody to jump on it. So it's not just one person running ragged. It's one person kind of keeping the response time very, very low, dedicated to you guys here, and then the rest of the team supporting that guy. But to answer your question, I don't think one person
Well,
would.
it's really nice of you to come in and throw yourself in there for free.
Thank you.
Gratis.
That probably already happens
I-
more than probably what
I enjoy it, so yeah, I don't
what
mind.
you know and what he bills for.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love. So Nick, and I didn't know this, Nick works with you guys.
Yes, he is under, we have 5 NICs. And
Yeah.
Okay.
2 of them are dedicated, 2 of them right now are cross-trained to the city, and then we have another one named JJ. But yes, they are under our payroll.
I know JJ. So this project brings in just more hours for Nick, JJ, and whomever.
Yes. And they'll be here all the time. Instead of previous, it was about 3 days a week. He would be in the office or running around. Now he's going to come in for our morning meeting, make sure everything's good, and then he's going to come here and he's going to work here all day.
Okay.
Essentially, it sounds like a better plan for everyone, no doubt. I guess, like to Darren's point, it's that tipping number of at what point is it worth having someone on file? And I just think we, as staff, council, we need to know that number in the back of our mind. That has to be on the forefront. But through this, again, I think this is a great service that they provide, and it's needed for us here, no doubt about that. But, you know, as we become a little bit bigger, anything larger, what that number is, that we're prepared for that in the future.
Well, and I will just tell you from other municipalities that I work, or that I'm familiar with, the people that do have IT on staff, they're bigger, and when they have IT on staff, they have 3 and 4 people on staff.
Right.
So, I mean, we're not to that level yet, and so for us, I think this is a better solution,
Well, I
at
also think
least for
that
now.
if we would go do this in-house, one person couldn't handle it.
Right.
We'd have 2 people on staff, and therefore our number already is higher than what we are here, so.
Exactly. So until we get to that point, I think this is the better solution.
When Greg works for free, we all work out better. That's good.
Exactly.
You guys keep your own, we'll keep adding people to it.
I move we send it to council.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Wessels, seconded by Patke, to send this item on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you sent it on. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay, any?
Hey, Chief, I just got a question for you, if you can come up. At our last meeting, Councilman Scornia mentioned about the Duncan property on Duncan,
Yes.
14th Street. In lieu of a phone call, can we make it a formal check into the weed ordinance? After driving by and looking at it, it hasn't been cut in a long, long time, so
It's a little tall.
to the benefit of the neighbors, we need to get it taken care of. I'm not opposed to the, lengthening of the C2 or C4, whatever it was, but we do need to make them cut the grass, so if we can look into that, it'd be great.
We can handle that, no problem.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a formal complaint at the last meeting or not, but we need to move forward.
We've got some officers already been checking into it, but I'll see where they're at.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Anyone else?
Tony?
Good evening, Council. As you know, we started our leaf pickup this week, and I think the high winds the other day helped out a little bit with getting all the leaves down off the trees, so we are going to have our hands full.
I was
Other than
asked,
that,
Bloomington Union.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what helped.
Yeah,
I was asked by 2 people, wondering if we still had a street sweeper. I
We
said,
do.
Yes, we do.
yep, sweeper was out today, and he's going to
I
probably
like
be out
how
all
they
week.
back up the guys picking up the leaves. I like how they come right behind them and clean the gutter as they're going through.
Yeah, we lost our sweeper operator, our original sweeper operator earlier this year when he he resigned, so it's taken us a while to get back up to speed, but yeah, we do have a sweeper out there. We also looking at the dirt work John talked about at the airport. We got that coming up, get that ready for rock. We are looking at possibly getting into the culvert that goes under Stafford over there by the Hazel Building. We have to get over there about every other year and dig all the sand out from there, so we do have that coming up. In our landfill, we demoed a couple of high lift loaders, or track loaders out there, looking to replace one of our older ones and kind of move some equipment around. So we have demoed that. Maybe in the next council meeting down the road, we'll see that coming up for purchase. When we buy that, we're looking at trading in that D6 dozer. We're going to trade in that grader, and we're going to trade in our old 953C. Trade all of them in on a new purchase. Tentatively.
We don't use those things?
Very little. That grader, I think Parks used it once this year, and I think we used it once, and we just don't have gravel roads we use it on anymore. Even the landfill, they take the scraper and go around and do the roads with the Challenger and the scraper. They don't even use the grader. Same with the D6. They don't like to use it in the landfill because it just picks up trash and drags it wherever it goes. So it's really not beneficial out there for us.
The track system does that, you're
The
saying?
dozer does, yeah.
Right.
Because of the cleats it has on it.
Right.
It's just not designed for trash. The two pieces of equipment we demoed, when we do the purchase, we'll get what they call a trash package that comes with it. It has protective guards in certain areas. It has like a cage on the bucket to keep trash from coming over, so it's a little more efficient.
Did we get our second round of salt yet?
Yeah, we've gotten, we did 800 ton, we did a 500 ton load, and then we did a 300 ton. So we're making room as we go. We're going to see how much effort we want to put into cramming it into the top, or because we have a pretty good rapport and a pretty good turnaround with this company. I mean, usually we call them 1 week. By early the following week, they'll have trucks here. So if we need it, we've got a pretty good follow-up with them.
What we have on hand is for sure enough for this year.
Yeah, it's a good start. We're probably a little over 2,000 tons in there, so be a good start. All right. Thank you, guys.
Good.
Thanks, Tony. Anyone else have anything? Kevin?
I just want to catch you guys up on some of the projects we've got going on. As I think I've told you guys, Walnut Street, we've got a big storm pump coming in. That's actually in, and we're scheduled to start that next week. Tuesday, it'll take a couple weeks to put it in. When we get that installed, it should pump anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 gallons a minute of storm water and excess flow that we get during heavy rain. So that'll help out the Front Street. We have West End. If you go down there and look, we've got a war zone down there. We're redesigning the lift station down there. We're putting in submersible pumps. We're raising the controller up out of the 93 floodplain level, so it'll be up on a stand. So if it floods down there, that won't get damaged. We're looking at about a $25,000 investment that we don't want to have get destroyed because of flood water, because you can't move once you get it installed.
Where's that at?
Down at West End lift station down there at the corner of
Oh.
Teeman in front.
Okay.
Yeah. Our air scrubber's in-house. It's sitting down at the treatment plant. We're looking at trying to get that installed within the next few weeks. With everything we got going on, and kind of limited with manpower, so we're going to try and get things going as we can. Once we get that installed, it will be up and running for the spring. So once we get it installed, it'll be pulling the air out of the influent wet well, out of the Headworks building, and out of the grit separator wet well, which causes a lot of odor. So hopefully by next spring, we've got a majority of the odor down at the plant when it starts up and the weather changes. So we do have a small leak over on High Street that Joe brought to our attention 2 weeks ago. We fixed it, and it seems to have resurfaced, so we'll be working on that this week. So got a lot to do, and the weather stays good for us, we'll keep moving ahead. So.
Kevin, why would somebody steal cameras, and did you catch the guys that stole them?
I guess because they had nothing else to do. I can't answer the question why. But yes, the police department did a great job of watching the video that we had of them and reaching out to some other entities, and we did catch them. We have the cameras back. We will reinstall them and add a few other cameras at that area to remove the blind spots. So that's how they got it. They figured out what the blind spots were.
Just Phoenix Park's the only one got it.
Phoenix Park is the only one that they've gotten so far. I don't think these two will be doing it again, but it just was one of those situations, so. And we have 61 cameras online now, well, besides the ones that are down at the tennis courts, but they will be back online in the next couple of weeks, so.
Thanks.
Okay.
And I read today about that there were some local businesses that helped out with their cameras to help the police department, so
Yes.
thanks to them.
Worked out good. We had the vehicle description and somewhat of a description of the person, and the local business had a really good picture of who they were, so it worked out really well.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Council comments?
Anyone have
We-
comments?
We do have time for an executive session in between meetings to save on you for time after the regular council meeting, so.
Works for me.
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, or real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Holtzmeyer.
Aye.
Obermark.
Aye.
Patchke.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia. Yes. Sullendrup.
Yes.
Wessels.
Right.
Are you talking about insurance?